customer is pretty sure the frame is straight, but we've been meaning to make a jig up for a while just to check things out, you know, so you know where you're at.
Yeah.
Obviously you can't use it unless the bike's completely stripped down.
What bike is this from?
Oh sorry, it's a 45 frame, the WLA, WLC, any 45. So in your TM9 1879 you have frame dimensions. So it doesn't matter what size bar you use as long as your inside edge is straight, yeah?
Yeah.
You've got dimensions on the back, an overall dimension and a dimension for this side and a dimension for that side. You put a bar down through the headstock and you should measure 13/64 of an inch there. Okay. So what I want to do first is just put the bar in without tying anything at the back and check these dimensions. I know this should be 8 9/16, I think it said. 8 9/16 of an inch. So we are 1/16 of an inch over. Half an inch is 8/16. 9/16 is that one there, the shorter one.
Yeah.
So we're 1/16 of an inch over, which is nothing because it's wider. As you bolt your back axle in, it'll hold it in. But I want to see which side has got the bend in it.
Okay.
Okay. You pull that in, it all measures up true. But so I made a front jig just to hold it off. It doesn't matter whether it's doing this, doing that. It's all irrelevant because it all goes on the bar in the middle. Yeah. I made a height gauge there and a height gauge there. As long as you're over the back, well, that has a 1/16 spacer. So that is 62.5 thou.
Yeah.
Which is a 16th.
Yeah.
125 is a quarter. Or an eighth rather, sorry. You put him in there, across the frame, clamp him to that, clamp that to that. Right, so that's your straight edge setup, yeah?
Okay.
Right, so this side, from that inner face to that inner edge there, we should have 3 inches 406 thou. They've done it all in 30 of an inch, which is trying to read 30 of an inch on a ruler is almost impossible with my eyes. So I've got a conversion table there. Look. So on the back it should have been 3 and 13/32 of an inch. 13/32 is 406 thou. So zero your vernier. We've got 3 inches. 1, 2, 3, 400. That's 400, isn't it? No, that's 400. And 6. And there. So measure your internal there. Very slightly out. Nothing to worry about that. We're talking over the whole length of the motorbike there.
Yeah.
So that's minuscule. The other side should be 5 inches 156 thou. 100 and what did I say? 56, wasn't it? 56. So 56. That was a lucky spot on, wasn't it? So we know we're 1/16 of an inch out that way, which is your 1/16 of an inch, which will pull that into there. Okay. So let's nip all this back up. So that's pulled that side in. That's locked that side, yeah?
Okay.
So let's double check that one again. So it's where that scribe line is there I put. You've got to remember the age of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's never going to be absolutely perfect because it's and they have a hard life, you know. Right, so we wanted 8 inches and 9/16. We're 1/16 of an inch over there, yeah? It should be on that line there in the middle.
Okay.
I'll just back him off of there. Hold those two. Can lock that up. Being an idiot, my brain's working back to front. Right, okay. About 30 out there. What am I doing? I'll go that way, that'll draw it in. Okay. bang on. 8 inches and 9/16, yeah?
Okay.
Now we'll double check again. See, that's pulled that closer now. Tiny bit out there, yeah? About a mil, which is, I mean, nothing on one of these. Put a little scratch mark on it there, yeah? And we want to go back to 5 inches, 156 thou. Okay, so we go from there to there. And we're pretty much bang on our line again, yeah?
Okay.
So that could be a slight discrepancy in one of these. Blah, blah, blah. That's on a frame this old, and that's running from the very front of the bike to there. We're talking about 32nd of an inch out,
Yeah.
which is absolutely nothing, you know. Machined up a bar. They're Ford Model A tie bar ends. We've machined them down. So you've got a taper fit here, yeah? Right, so this is where it starts getting complicated. That bar should be 61/64 of an inch wide,
Okay.
which is 953 thou. Because we couldn't get that through the centre of the lathe, that is 1010 thousandths of an inch.
Okay.
Inch and 10 thou, yeah? So our tube on half of it, you split it down the middle, so you only measure into one side, yeah?
Okay.
You can't take an overall from that side.
Okay.
So on the top, it should be 476 mil. We've got 505 mil. Yeah?
Okay.
It should be 28.5 thou. Ours is 28.5 thou wider.
Okay.
Okay? So we've got, our gap should be 203 thou, minus your 28.5, 203 minus 28.5 equals 174.5. Yeah?
Clear as mud.
Now I know that this isn't straight, but it's, again, we're talking minimal. So we should have had 174 thou. We have got 260 thou, so we're 85 thou out.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Mhm.
So that's 85 thou that way.
Yeah.
Which is that.
Okay.
So that, over that length there, is that far out, left to right.
Okay.
Which, in my personal way of thinking, ain't going to make the slightest bit of difference.
Well, where's the cut-off point for where it would be?
Oh, well, if it's like quarter of an inch or something like that, or, you know.
Yeah.
But that, over the length, because when you've got a set of forks in there, none of the, I mean, even when Harleys were built,
Yeah.
none of the rockers are the same width. They're all just, they are within reason, but nothing's that accurate on one of these, nothing.
Yeah.
So it's got a twist in it somewhere, but that could come from doing that tube.
Okay.
That
yeah.
might make it, you know, just tweak the back a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously we've got it bolted down here. We've got it bolted, it's not bolted to the bed, so it'll go wherever you want, you know. Also, there could be a bow in that tube. You know, we've eyeballed it, but that don't mean shit, really. But on the grand scheme of things, it is pretty damn straight, you know what I mean? Well, there you go, there is a bow in that tube. You know, and that's bowing that way. You've got an air gap there,
Yeah.
so that'll bring it back that way. It's very hard to know without getting all of the super duper correct stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that should be a solid bar. I mean, I haven't got a solid bar.
So the beauty of having knocking out this jig is when we have a frame, if we want to know whether it's bent or not, we can put it in here.
Yeah,
And then go, okay.
We haven't got the tech because you need big, really sturdy stuff. I mean, like the English wheel there.
Yeah.
The straightening frames are like that, so you're never ever going to bend them. So you can get pressure on it everywhere and bend it.
And from that, you can say, right, that needs to go off to be repaired, or
Yes.
no, it's within tolerance.
Like it says here, look. Straightening a lining frame. When rough check or visible signs of frame reveal frame misalignment, straightening and accurate measurement must be done on a surface plate provided with holding fixtures, leverage tools and accurate gauges. Special instructions accompany such equipment.
Yeah.
So you'll never straighten. I mean, no, things like that you can straighten.
Yeah.
Not a problem. If it's physically bent like that or bent like that in half, you won't straighten one.
Yeah.
Well, obviously you can, but we can't. This is the tube that's rusted out, all underneath here. As hence all the internal dust and crap from when customers worried about getting handprints on it and stuff, because it will just go rusty.
Yeah.
Atmosphere will make it go rusty, but obviously it's got to be powder coated again.
Yeah.
So you'll blast it again before you do that. Other repairs, put that tube in, make some slugs up like we did on Malcolm's frame. Straighten that. Check the threads in these. This side here, where your rear mudguard mount goes, you've got that dimension there. So he wants that doing, which is fine, we can do that. Just build it up with some weld and face it off.
Yeah.
This side of the headstock is okay. I mean, it's pitted, but powder coating will cover a lot of this. So it's still got the 9 on there, which means it's a 43 frame to match his engine casings, which are good. But this side is very pitted. So what we can do is heat that up, do all the oxyacetylene and drop some braze in it, yeah? Fill it up with some braze and just grind it all back so it's nice and smooth, because there's one part of the bike you do see is that piece, you know. Down tube's alright there. It's got some bad pitting here, so probably drop a bit of braze in that, clean up some lumps and bits and pieces on it, which is, it's just years and years of sitting somewhere, you know. The other thing we've got to do is get a seat tube, because if that's been blasted without a bung in it, which it has, if the seat tube jams up, you'll never ever get it out. So you've got to make sure that hole down there is clean, free from grit. Also as well, you can't see it because of the jig I've made, the engine bolt holes are all worn oval. Yeah? So it's been running at some point with an engine loose.
Oh, okay.
So it's just chafed all the holes. What I normally do is ream them out and just make a little spacer in there back to right size material.
Yeah.
You feel underneath where it's been loose, that's chamfered in. So those bolts have just been rattling around, the engine's been loose, yeah?
Yeah.
So that's what we've got to do on the frame. So now we've got his engine casings. That casing's very nice. Little tiny bit there, but nothing major, you know.
Yeah.
So he's got to get the centre bushes for both sides and a crank, I believe. He hasn't got a crank. Right, so we've got 43 25961, and we've got 43 25961. So matching casings, yeah?
Yeah.
Which is always good, because you know your line bores are okay.
Yeah.
But it's been sitting in a puddle like that, I should think, for the last 50 years.
Ooh.
I think the bloke said he had it in his garage for 50 years.
Okay.
He was worried about this pitting here, but I showed him on that one, when it's on the bike you can't see it.
Yeah.
The less heat you put back into these, the better.
Okay.
Obviously the bottom's corroded. The only issue you've got with that is if it's porous.
Yeah.
So what I'll do, I'll seal all the casings up, I'll bolt them all together and leave it with oil in it for, I don't know, a day or two, something like that. See if it weeps on the outside. I doubt very much whether it will, because you've got such a thickness of alley there. All you can do is try it.
Yeah.
And yes, you can weld it, but the less heat you put in it, the better.
Why is that?
Warpage.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll all warp to a certain point, you know. But yeah, just put your seal around it. Bolt it all nice and hard together. I'll probably have to get them blasted again afterwards, or the customer said he will probably get them blasted again afterwards.
Okay.
It's a vapour blast. Some of the casings, they've had a hard life, so it needs the pins pulling out and just putting on surface plate and cleaning back smooth, yeah?
Yeah.
I've got helicopters put in this one here, because he's gone, and there they've either levered the oil pump off or something, but that'll just leak.
Yeah.
So you've got to drop a little bit of weld in there and just tidy that up, that'll be fine. But all the rest of the threads and everything look pretty good. Missing the location pins there and there. should be sure they have pins. And the other thing is, camshaft bushes are a bit worn, but you don't know if that matches that, because they're all bored in situ as such.
Okay. Between
these bushes and those 4 bushes there.
Yeah.
So basically, what he's got a new set of cams. He's going to send me down the cams,
yeah,
and then we can assemble it all and see what's going on.
Yeah.
It may sometimes they just plonk together and they rotate freely. Sometimes you'll get 2 of them will rotate nicely, and the other 2 will lock up. You just got to keep playing with them.
Yeah.
But you can get there in the end. So that's too tight on there. So it will go. So what you do, because you've got 3 location pins, yeah, you can open these holes out very slightly, and that just gives you a little tiny bit of leeway, yeah. Thread's good on the oil pump pickup, which is good. Slight rock on that, which is probably that high spot round there that was damaged. So you do that first. Obviously you have to build it with the gasket, because you have to shim your cams up and down as well. Yeah. You only want 5 thou of end float on them. Yeah, he's got most of the parts to build it all. I think he wants to build the engine himself, but he wants things like that done, and he was talking about possibly sending the crank down to us to set the crank up and strip it all down. He'll get these water blasted again, or vapour blasted again, and then he'll reassemble his engine. If you know all the basic running of it is right, it's not an issue, you know. A very easy engine to build, very hard engine to set up properly. Yeah. Like your repro crank pins, the centre crank pin that hold the con rods, they're crap. They're too wide. You know, they're just, you have to sit there and hone them down, hone them down, and hone them down until you get anything to fit. Because if your rods tighten up, they walk left to right, and that will just chew it will just chew it. Yeah. Big end bearings in about probably 100 miles would be knackered. So you've got to get it right before you assemble it. Yeah. Because I mean, you can put them together and you think, oh, that feels nice, until you put the crank in the engine and start rotating it. It just gets harder and harder and harder and harder, because the rods are walking one way, because the bearings are just that slight, tiny little bit too tight. So you've got to get them right. But yeah, all in all, it's a good project. Yeah.